Wow. It's funny, I come out and I have a plan of something I want to do, which I've done, some of them. And then I also have a plan of what I'm going to talk about. And then when I start talking about it, I get distracted by the light. Wow. Yeah, so I was going to talk about a comment I received. So hello, thanks for joining me. Well, I had a comment on one of my most watched videos. It was a really interesting comment because it stirred some things, a number of things, because, well, if I go through them, they said, oh, this bloke, he's on drugs, he must be on drugs or something, which I'll refer you to my videos on Stonehenge when I do them, and related ones. You know, I've had years and years of abuse and stuff because of that kind of assumption. Although, you know, I have a video about drugs. You know, if they were that bad, then they wouldn't be made illegal. You know, if alcohol was good for you, it would be illegal. There's a lovely old tree there. Yeah, so that was the first thing, that kind of assumption. And actually I do advocate people take psychedelics in a ritual manner with intent. But that's one of the tribal things, because we have them in various countries and they're there for a reason, or else they wouldn't grow, because they grow, they're nature. Anyway, so I thought, oh, here we go, someone's making an assumption, and I thought, well, whoever this bloke is, and I'm sure it's a bloke, he's probably taken more drugs than me. But he won't see them as drugs. You know, just because they sell them in pharmacies and doctors prescribe them doesn't stop them being drugs. And it doesn't make them any good. You know, I mean, smoking used to be a well-endorsed thing, didn't it? So that was one thing. And it was kind of, the comment was just angled against making people view me in a negative way. I mean, he could have asked me. The second thing was, look at this bloke. He goes and cuts wire. But again, like I'm going to carry a backpack of bolt cutters just in case I might have to cut some wire, which I don't. And if I did, it would have been wrapped around an animal. So second thing, he didn't ask me if I had permission to cut the fence. Well, the truth is, I've been asked to cut the fence by the person who owns the land, who let me use their bolt cutters to cut the fence. So there is this comment where that's two things they didn't bother asking me about, and they would have found out the answers. And then the next thing was, he said that I obviously didn't know anything about woods, because I was just trampling all through it. Well, seeing as I work in that wood, I know what's in it. And, well, I work in the wood next door to it. But the wood that I was in is, well, it was used as a pheasant rearing wood. And it's not looked after at all. And the wood next to it, opposite, that's an even worse state. That was just used to make money. We come out there. Oh, right, okay. And get cheap timber, which they've taken out, and in doing so, they just took it out and trashed it. It's an awful mess. I mean, you know, I've been working in woods for 25 years, so I know one or two things. So then it got me thinking, because I've noticed this, if a video gets quite a lot of views, there will be comments left by people, and I kind of think, and they will be negative, but negative in that way that they're almost trying to incite people to view you negatively. And it's not just me, it's happened to other YouTubers or other people who make videos. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? And then I thought, of course, he's working for a government. He's part of the psyops that go on. Oh, there's loads of them. I've even met some. They didn't know that I know who they are. But that's the trouble when you deal with someone like me. They're so arrogant in their negativity and their angle of disinformation and perpetuating their orders, because they don't really know what they're doing, because they're just following orders and getting paid to do these things. And so it was quite clearly aimed at producing negativity from people towards me. So I've sent it back, which I advise anyone to do if you get any negative thing. Give it some thought, obviously, and work out if they're right or not, or if they have a point, and then send it back to them. But it was, you know, they could have asked me, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean, all of their points would have been answered. So much, all their 4 points would have been answered in such a way as to render it unnecessary for them to leave the comment in the first place. But what I did was I didn't react, whereas I used to react. like I didn't even have a fuse. This is quite a dark trunk. And dark looking up into that blue sky there too. And it was also interesting in the way that it was worded, because it was worded in such a way that they didn't want it, you know, to not be true. They wanted it to be that way. They didn't want me to have had permission to cut the fence. You know, if it's your wire and you put it up, you can cut it. It's yours. And we also have permission to go into that wood for walking. Unless they're on a shoot. But we know when the shoots are because they give us a list of the days when they're shooting. So, but of course, he didn't ask that because he didn't want to know. Because that would have spoilt what he wanted to do. So it's always better to ask things first before you jump to conclusions. I mean, someone also made a comment about how cows were going to get in. Well, seeing as we don't have any cows in the woods or anywhere near, that's not likely to happen anyway. And why would we cut a fence that was going to let animals in that would trash all the work we've done over the years? Well, we wouldn't, would we? No one would. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Remember, don't believe what you read unless you've checked it out first.